What are your writing goals? Do you have writing goals? Should you have writing goals? Let's delve into that. Happy New Year from Creative Writing Corner. I'm your host, as always, author and creative writing teacher, Luke J. Morris, and today we are talking about setting goals for your writing. I know, you may not believe in goals. You may have become disillusioned with goals. Everybody talks about goals, but I've tried them and they never work. Maybe goals just let you down. On the other hand, maybe you set goals regularly, they always work to get you moving, and you achieve them every time. If that's the case, either you're setting incredibly easy goals, like wake up each day, or continue breathing, or you're made of magic, and I want to kidnap you and force you to divulge to me your secrets. Also, this message isn't for you. If you're that guy, you're better than me. Go out there, set your goals, and work your magic, but feel free to send some of that good juju my way. I could use it, as could all the people potentially watching this video. For the rest of us, believe me, I'm with you. I have had my own frustrations with writing goals plenty of times. You know how many New Year's resolutions I've made to write every day? I've been writing for more than 30 years. Guess how many of those years in which I've written every day? Never happens, no. So, I'm going to talk a bit about what works for me with goal setting and what doesn't work for me. But what works for me won't necessarily work for you. You may have to do a little trial and error before you find your approach. That's cool. That's what we all have to do. This is a video about writing process. Some of my videos will be about writing content, but some of them will be about writing process. So if you're interested in more content-based videos, maybe look at the secret of storytelling or how to find ideas. Or I've got a couple videos coming up. My next video will be on creating character. So keep an eye out for that. But this is a video on process, and writing process is important because without getting the words down, we never get any writing done. So it doesn't matter how much we know about storytelling, we're never going to get our story told if we can't put pen to paper. That's where goal setting comes in as a helpful tool to get us moving. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what works for me. I'm going to evaluate this dialectically, 2 by 2, along 2 categories, because I'm not a nerd. I want to weigh setting big goals with setting realistic goals, as well as setting long-term goals versus setting short-term goals. The setting huge goals approach is an approach backed by entrepreneurial gurus like Grant Cardone and Anthony Robbins. The idea is you want to set goals that are big enough to entice you to really go for it, to stretch yourself. If your goal is enticing enough and you're able to keep it in front of you consistently, it will pull you to achieve and grow. You'll stretch yourself further than you believe you can, and you'll become more than you can. The potential downside to this, however, is that if you fall off track or come in well short of your goal, as I've experienced a few times, it can lead to discouragement and disillusionment with goal setting altogether. Like, why bother setting the goal to make $1 million when I've never even made 1/10 of that? I haven't hit a 6-figure year yet. I'm there with a lot of Americans right now, but it's one of those kind of long-term goals of mine. I'd like to hit that, especially now that I'm a married father of 5 kids. I could definitely use a little more scratch. So my financial goals kind of run towards the peak of my mind right now, but they're tied in with my creative goals because I am a writer, and we as writers and artists should get paid for what we do. We deserve to. We're putting in the work. If you are putting in the work, really, really going for it, really trying to write publishable material, then you deserve to get paid for what you do. If you're not, if you're just writing for fun and pleasure, that's fine too. You can still set writing goals and accomplish them, and that will help you grow as a writer, and I believe growing as a writer helps you grow as a person. I am totally going off track now. I'm running off script, but this is a discussion that I'm passionate about. I've got a lot to say. My baby is screaming in the house. Oh my goodness. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm just hoping 2020 is better than 2019. 2019 was crazy. Okay, so that's setting big goals. Now we go to setting realistic goals. Goals within the reach of our current abilities. These are goals that we don't really have to stretch ourselves too much for. We might have to take some effort to get to them, but we know we can take that effort. We've done it before. We've made that same effort using our current level of knowledge and skill, and we've gotten there. So these are goals that we can just go out and grab. Those are the ones that are truly realistic, with the accepted meaning of realism. The knowledge that we can accomplish these goals gives us confidence. Each goal that we achieve reinforces that confidence. The problem here is that it's boring. Sure, I'm confident that I can accomplish things I've already done. So what? Where's the growth? I'm still not pulling in a whole lot of money, so I'm still not publishing as many books as I believe I could. I'm still not quite the writer that I believe I could be. I always feel like I've got that next step of growth to go on. I still feel like I'm learning new things about pedagogy and about teaching, and I'm trying to build myself that way. There's always something ahead, but if you give what you've always given, you'll get what you've always gotten. The real problem here is entropy. When all our goals are within our reach, we're disinclined to stretch ourselves. Even doing the status quo day in, day out, though, gets monotonous. Hey, I just passed 10,000 steps. I haven't even stepped in 20 minutes now. I've just been sitting down here working, and I talk with my hands a lot. Anyway, the day-by-day status quo will get monotonous. Setting realistic goals doesn't really inspire us, doesn't bring any passion out of us, and we're not likely to really be motivated to move and accomplish big things. We're also not going to really grow in any real way. If all I'm doing is what I've continued to do over the past few years, I'm going to get what I have gotten, which is pretty low book sales and very little exposure. So I need to work on that. Let's talk about time frame. When you're setting goals, do you set your goals for a decade, a year, 6 months, or a day? Everyone's got a different time frame that they set goals for, that they feel like they can set goals for. Many people try to do the full year thing. I have trouble setting and following through on full year goals, which is why I have to chunk things down. I do set full year goals, but I chunk things down a bit. A saying I hear a lot is most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. I'd say this rings true in my life. Looking back, hindsight being 20/20, every decade I've accomplished far more than I thought I was going to, but each year by year, I haven't exactly had too many incredibly stellar ones. They've just been sort of a gradual build with a few backslides. The problem is it doesn't help me much in goal setting. I have trouble plotting my life out 6 months in advance, never mind 10 years. But then I also burn out if I'm trying to set new goals every day. And every day I'm writing new goals, and I'm trying to rethink my life, and I'm trying to look at everything from a meta long-range perspective every day. That burns me out. A lot of the time I just want to follow a routine and get work done, and just continually focusing on the macro level not only distracts me from the now, but it intimidates me. It kicks my fear centers into overdrive by regularly reminding me how big a mountain I have left to climb, whether that mountain is finishing the first draft of my novel or hitting the New York Times bestseller list, which is on my goals list somewhere down the road. But we'll see about how long it takes me to get there. I need to keep making progress in that direction, which is where smaller goals and more broken down, chunked ideas come into play. Chunked ideas. That would be a terrible name for a band. So, first, I pick my big goals for the year. Yes, I play the New Year's resolution game just like everyone else, but as I already kind of explained, it doesn't really work for me. It's just a starting point. Where do I want to be in the year to come? I break my major goals for the year into 6 categories: family, home, health and fitness, work, finances, and my writing career, which includes all of this stuff, everything I do creatively, pretty much, my creative endeavors. I know I can't focus on all of these at the same time. It's like I'm working on all of these at exactly the same moment. No, I'm always going to exercise, but I'm not necessarily looking to build muscle at a given point if I'm trying to work on my author career as well as trying to build my work career. I'm always going to do my work, but I'm not necessarily going to be coming up with new teaching strategies and brand new brilliant lesson plans for classes that I already know how to teach if I'm in the middle of dealing with family crises and managing that, or connecting with my wife and kids better. So I spent a good portion of December with family. There was a lot of family time there, and I was much more focused on that. Now that I'm back at work, I'm focused more on work and on my writing career. So let's talk about my writing career goals. Yes, in my writing career, I'm lumping together my creative and business goals. Many people might see this as anathema. They've got to focus on one at a time. But for me, I've done that before, and the problem is then I get very precious about my creative work, and I don't think of it like a business, and then I don't get a whole lot produced, and I don't get a whole lot published, and I don't get anything sold, and then writing becomes more of a chore than it is a lucrative and enjoyable side career, which is what I want it to be. It's what I'm really working on as a writer, and I imagine a lot of you guys are too. A lot of us are in the same boat. Again, if you're not, you're still welcome here. I still can teach you a lot about storytelling because I know a lot about storytelling. How well I execute it is up to others to judge. But moving on. I am really getting rambly. It has been a long week and a reasonably long weekend, but I am glad it's the new year. My goal for the year is to become a best-selling author. This is kind of a broad category of goal, and it's part of a long-term goal strategy. What I really want to do this year financially is add on $1,000 to my monthly income. So I'm making an extra $1,000 a month. By the end of the year, I'd like to consistently be making an extra $1,000 a month. My long-term goal there is to replace my current income, or to match my current income that I get from work with my writing. That doesn't mean I'm actually going to quit work to do writing at that point, because my current income, I'm a high school teacher, guys. My current income is, there's a reason I'm trying to do a side gig. Moving on. It's a pretty broad goal. I need to work at narrowing down what it means to be a best-selling author. If I'm just trying to be a top 100 seller in a given category on Amazon, I might be able to do that without too much trouble, depending on the size and popularity of the category. But I have to start somewhere, so that could be my initial goal. If I hit that goal early, I hit that goal before the end of the year, I set my next goal higher, maybe to hit the top 100 seller on all of Amazon. That's incredibly lofty goal because there are 3 or 4 million booksellers on Amazon. Maybe hit the top 1,000 sellers on Amazon. That's still selling hundreds upon hundreds of copies a day, and that would be a very nice goal. I don't know if I can hit that in a year. That may be overestimating what I can do in a year, but underestimating what I can do in a decade. Can I hit that in a decade? Part of me thinks I can hit that in a lot less than a decade, but we'll see. The point is, I have to continue working at it. So my goal for the year is to become a best-selling author. Kind of nebulous, but it's something to work towards. It leaves me a pretty wide open map of how to get there. I can go the self-publishing route and build an email list and connect with my readers directly, building professional relationships online and create a base of rabid fan readers. Or I can do traditional publishing and sell my book to big publishing houses to publish, produce and distribute to booksellers, and use the enhanced credibility and exposure that the professional credit there gives me to build an audience that way, build an audience more through fame than through direct connection. But still, I'd have to do a lot of that marketing and reader relationship building myself. Big publishers don't do marketing for authors, not anymore. So I have to market myself. But before I can do that, I have to have products. I have to produce. I have to have products to sell. So I need to put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. I keep talking about writing, and yes, I'm doing it, but I need to actually get my writing done and get it out there into the world. The last novel that I finished a while back, I've revised over and over and over again, and I am currently querying agents seeking representation. I started the query process once again at the start of the year, and I'm actively into it. And I'm 2/3 of the way through writing my latest novel, which is the start of a series. So my goals are to break it into chunks. 1, get an agent. 2, to finish my current novel, revise it, and decide how I want to publish it, whether I want to go independent or traditional. To convert all of my already published books to audiobooks. I've got one book that's an audiobook right now, my martial arts book, The Martial Artist Mindset, and it's my only book selling month in and month out. It's not making me a lot of money, but it is selling several copies a month, and that means I need to get all the rest of my books on audiobook. So that's on my goals list. Get a short story published in a paying publication to build author credibility and exposure. Again, trying to get my name out there. I've just not done a lot of this lately. Yes, I have been professionally published, but it's been a while, since like the very early 2000s. And when the publication that published you is no longer around, it's kind of hard to establish credibility in the current day with that. So I'm trying to get myself back out there. I just kind of hid from the publishing world for a long time. The business of authoring is a different beast than the writing itself. But still, these are all part of my goals, and writing is an integral part of it. Without writing, none of the rest of it comes together. So to get a short story published in a paying publication, building author credibility and exposure. I've got short stories that I've already been circulating, and I would like to write some more. I like writing short stories. Short fiction is great for the brain. It's great for the idea generator, and it leads to some of the most memorable stories of all time. Have been short stories. And then I want to expand my network of author friends and creative and business collaborators. I was at a meeting of authors here in the Valley yesterday, and we had a great time. We were talking about how to build your book as a business and treating it that way. And so I've got some new ideas that I'm going to be trying to put forth. What I have here are 5 different paths that I can work on at any given time, all of which will take me closer to my goal of making a living with my writing. I may have a hard time writing every day, but I don't usually have a hard time doing something every day. Even if it's just sending one query letter, adding 100 words to the novel, starting a new short story, or learning a new writing concept or a book marketing technique. I can always get something done, something that takes me closer to the dream I'm chasing. This kind of open-ended goal-setting strategy works for me, at least in the sense of keeping me productive. We'll see how long it takes me to reach my goals, but I'm going to keep pushing. I hope that you'll keep watching and that this inspires you to passionately pursue your own goals. Make this the year you get your novel written, or make this the week you submit to that short story contest. However you choose to set and achieve goals, make sure those goals are serving you. Learn, adapt, and grow. And may your writing and book sales grow with them. Thank you for tuning in to Creative Writing Corner. I've been Luke J. Morris, and I'll talk to you next time about creating character. Right on, my friends. Hey there, fellow writer. Thanks for tuning in to Creative Writing Corner. I hope you got something valuable or at least ridiculous out of this episode. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more great writing tips and tricks, and if you have any writing questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like me to discuss, leave them in the comments below. Thanks again, my friend. Until next time, keep the words flowing.